Once again, I'm going to interrupt good conversation, and I really hate to do that. Uh, but we do have a program, and I think it's well worth pausing so that we can have the program here because it's very special. And I want to welcome everyone again to the 30th anniversary celebration of Pitt Law's Center for International Legal Education. This morning we had a very special set of stories that highlighted 30 years of CILE staff, student, and alumni engagement, advancement and success throughout the world. We heard of those who came to Pitt from around the globe, as well as those who took the Pitt and Pitt Law experience in legal education to the world in many ways. For those of you here now who were not able to join us this morning, I hope you might be able to see the recordings of that event as we post them for that purpose. There's some really amazing stories. And for those alumni who have stories to share that were not included this morning, please get in touch with us because we'd like to post video vignettes of those. I thanked a number of people this morning. And one of the, actually, I'm going to go a little out of order here, but one of the things, people I did thank was the Franklin West group. Holly and Caroline are here now, who has provided the apartment. And there are some people here who've been here because that apartment was available, and we really thank them. And I want to mention again Jody Oberek-Atkins, who was there at the start and made things work. I want to thank the firms that are our sponsors. Denton's for sponsoring the reception we're going to have this afternoon. Gold sponsor Reed Smith, silver sponsor Ellen Freeman Immigration Law Group, and bronze sponsors Leach, Tishman, and Three Crowns. They all have contributed to making these events the day possible. Others have made individual contributions to CILE, and for that I give you a hearty thanks, and I'd be remiss if I did not note that I think each of you will receive a QR code that will allow you to make a contribution. So I want to add one more note of thanks that's a bit personal. Chancellor Emeritus Mark Nordenberg holds a special place at Pitt and Pitt Law. His leadership of the School of Law and the University of Pittsburgh brought our university and our law school to international prominence in many ways. Several years before the formal creation of CILE, I remember well Mark's first visit, and I think it was his first trip out of the country, when he and I were at the University of Augsburg together in Germany, where I was teaching a summer course at the time. We later had the opportunity to go back and take Pitt students and Augsburg students and go off to Sion, Switzerland. See, we just kind of plan these nice things and claim it's education at work, and it is. My appointment as the Chancellor Mark A. Nordenberg University Professor is the highlight of my career. And I must say that it has allowed me to provide support for CILE programs in ways that have filled in gaps and helped our students reach individual and collective goals in legal education. So thank you, Mark, for all of that and for joining us today. We are especially pleased that our current Chancellor, Joan Gable, can join us today to introduce our keynote speaker in celebration of CILE's 30th anniversary. Chancellor Gable leads the University of Pittsburgh and its more than 34,000 students and 16,000 faculty, researchers, and staff. Since arriving at Pitt in 2023, she's focused on advancing Pitt's legacy of student success, meaningful research, and commitment to the community. Under her leadership, Pitt has undertaken a comprehensive metrics-driven strategic plan with growth and enrollment, postgraduate placement, research expenditures, invention disclosures, and industry partnerships. And Pitt has been designated a new Ivy and a best in-state employer. Before coming to Pitt, Chancellor Gable served as president of the University of Minnesota system and its Twin Cities campus, where she launched the system's first strategic plan and led a time of record philanthropic investment and next generation health sciences education, as well as efforts to strengthen the regional agri-food industry. She has held academic leadership positions the University of South Carolina, University of Missouri, Georgia State University, and Florida State University. So she brings a wealth of experience that can help us here at the University of Pittsburgh. Chancellor Gable serves as the head, serves on boards of UPMC, the Association of American Universities, the American Council of Education, and the Pittsburgh Symphony. She also holds leadership positions with the U.S. Council of Competitiveness, Association of Public and Land-Grant Universities, and Fulbright Scholar Advisory Board. And she's going to help us get more Kosovo Fulbright Scholars to the University of Pittsburgh Law School. She's been recognized by the Wall Street Journal as a shining star, elected to the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, and named to the Pittsburgh Business Times Power 100. Please join me in welcoming Chancellor Joan Gable.
Thank you, Ron, and how nice to see all of you here today, and what an honor it is to welcome you and introduce Her Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kosovo, Vjosa Osmani, and her husband and her entire team, who we are so delighted to have with us today. So President Osmani, as many of you know, is many things, including a legal scholar with studied and lived expertise in international law with wonderful connections to this university. So it is an honor and a special pleasure to have her here celebrating the 30th anniversary of Pitt Center for International Legal Education. The center, as all of you also know, through its faculty, staff, and especially our students, has welcomed to the world the entire portfolio of the University of Pittsburgh and has represented this community to the world through programs that have reached more than 80 countries. Professor Brand, as many of you know, first met President Osmani years ago when she was an undergrad at the University of Pristina. Pitt Law faculty worked closely with her university at that time, and a colleague told Professor Brand, as I understand it, you really should meet this student. She is the future of Kosovo. And his response, as I understand it, was, how can you see that in somebody so young? How do you know? That was in 2002. The Kosovo War had recently ended. The country was still under the administration of United Nations peacekeepers, and the future was uncertain, I think it would be fair to say. But when they met, Professor Brand, as I'm told, began to understand what his colleagues saw in this young scholar. She was a stellar student in summer courses taught by Pitt Law professors, and she would go on to graduate first in her class out of some 2,000 students. She then came to Pittsburgh to further her studies. In 2005, she earned her Master's of Law, or as we would call it, her LLM, from the University of Pittsburgh. And in very short order, returned home to serve in numerous important roles in the emerging Republic of Kosovo. She was Chief of Staff and Foreign and Legal Policy Advisor to the then President of Kosovo. She was the President's representative on the Constitutional Commission, which drafted the Constitution of the Republic of Kosovo. She served on the legal team at the International Court of Justice in support of Kosovo's Declaration of Independence, and she was elected to Kosovo's national legislative body, the Assembly, and also served as the youngest ever speaker of Kosovo's parliament. While doing all of this, working like this at this level, she also completed her Doctor of Juridical Studies, or SJD degree, in 2015, her second Pitt Law degree, with a thesis on the influence of the United Nations Sales Convention on Kosovar domestic law and its application through rules of succession in Kosovo. And in 2020, she was named Speaker of the Assembly, and then in 2021, elected as the sixth President of Kosovo, of the Republic of Kosovo. So throughout her career, she's demonstrated, obviously, extraordinary leadership and a deep commitment to public service, the rule of law, and partnership. She's become one of the most widely respected national leaders, of course in Eastern Europe, but certainly around the world. Her many honors include an honorary doctorate from Ankara University in Turkey and the University of Pittsburgh Center for International Studies Chef International Young Alumni Achievement Award for her contribution to democracy and human rights. We at the Pitt community have followed her career around the world with great interest and obviously with enormous pride. And we are very fortunate that given the demands on her time, she's returned to Pittsburgh multiple times as a visiting instructor. And then today, right on the heels of her work with the UN General Assembly in New York City. She's quite literally the embodiment of the center's mission to prepare lawyers and policymakers who make a difference across the globe. So when we say it's an honor to welcome her back to campus today, we really mean it. So please join me in welcoming Her Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kosovo, Vjosa Osmani.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're very kind. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chancellor Gable, for these wonderful words. It's been quite some time that I haven't been in a room with so many friends, dear friends, very close friends, and supportive friends. Provost McCarthy, Dean Dickinson, once again, Chancellor Gable, former Chancellor Nordenberg, esteemed professors, distinguished alumni, distinguished colleagues, dear friends, and family, because that's what Pitt has always been to me. Thank you so much for making this homecoming one that I will carry with me forever. Standing here today before professors who once guided me, colleagues that have walked alongside me, and students who are now beginning their own academic journeys, I feel both humbled as well as profoundly grateful for the opportunity. To return to the University of Pittsburgh is to return to a place that has shaped not only my career, but also my very sense of purpose. For me, this university was the place where I came to truly understand that education is not simply about knowledge, but also about the power of human connection. I'm especially grateful to join you in celebrating 30 years of the Center for International Legal Education. When I first arrived to Pittsburgh, I carried with me the story of a nation that had endured centuries of hardship. We practically had to rebuild from scratch. My homeland, Kosovo, was still healing from a brutal war. I was very young, from a country that much of the world did not yet even know about. Kosovo today remains the most pro-American nation on earth, and we wear it as a badge of honor. It is the truth of a people who will never forget that when we faced the darkness of war, when our very survival was at stake, it was the United States of America and the American people that stood by us. That solidarity has changed the course of my people's history, and it changed mine too. Because when I walked into Pitt for the very first time, I did so carrying the gift of freedom that America had helped secure. What I found here was a second gift, the belief that education could transform freedom into a future. I often recall the words of Professor Brand when I talk to young students and people around the world, the founder of CILE, who said that no matter how global our experiences, our world consists of the people who touch our lives. And he was right. My life was touched by this institution, by mentors like Professor Brand himself, Professor Harry Fleckner, so many of you that I see sitting around tables today, and Mark, where's Mark? Mark is here. Mark was the person who told Professor Brand that he was envisaging a future. And so many others that I have the pleasure to see today as well. And so many who devoted themselves not just to teaching law, but also to shaping world leaders and shaping a much better future, not just for the people of the United States, but for people around the world. For 3 decades, CILE has touched lives in every single corner of the globe, from Europe to the Middle East, from Africa to Latin America. You have empowered young lawyers, judges, and scholars to return home and to build justice where there was once injustice, to build peace where there was once war, and to build fairness where there was only power in the past. Just think of the Vismut competition, which brought together young minds from across borders to debate law, yes, but also to practice democracy, to practice dialogue and respect, even among students from countries that would never talk to one another. Think of the graduates who now serve as judges, professors, ministers, public servants, and yes, presidents too. Their lives were changed right here. And through them, their societies were changed as well. And this is the essence of true development. Not the buildings, not the spreadsheets, not the imposed reforms sometimes, but it's people. People whose courage and vision ripple outward to touch millions and millions more. And Kosovo is that living proof of this amazing contribution from University of Pittsburgh. Many bright reformers came through this university, through CILE, through USIS. Today they serve in our judiciary, in our ministries, in our universities, and in every single institution that is making positive change happen. And that is your legacy. That is an amazing legacy, I would say. And there's also a nice little symbolism worth mentioning. The flag of Kosovo and the flag of the University of Pittsburgh share the same colors, blue, gold, and white. In a way, these colors tie us together. It means there will always be a special connection between this university and my country. Earlier this year, I had the privilege of awarding the University of Pittsburgh the Presidential Medal of Merit, one of the highest honors of the Republic of Kosovo. I did so not only to honor past contributions, but also to state a truth. Your investment in our people has been one of the most profound contributions to our journey as a free nation. So, dear friends, as I stand here today, no longer the young student filled with uncertainty, but as the president of my beloved country, I see a circle completed. I came here seeking knowledge, and I return with immense gratitude. Gratitude not only for what Pitt gave me, but for what Pitt has given my country, this country, and the rest of the world. But I also carry conviction that in the next 30 years, CILE's mission will matter more than ever. Because the challenges before us, war, authoritarianism, inequalities, cannot be solved by one nation alone, no matter how big it is. They require leaders who understand the law, but also the human heart. The kind of leaders that I had the greatest honor to meet and learn from here in Pittsburgh. As one of Europe's greatest leaders, Václav Havel of the Czech Republic once reminded us, the salvation of this human world lies nowhere else than in the human heart, in the human power to reflect, in human meekness, and in human responsibility. These are the words of our time. A reminder that justice is not only theory, it is a lifeline. That is what you have built for 30 years, a lifeline. As I look into the future, I dream that more young students from Kosovo and from all around the world will walk through the same halls that I once walked with so many of you. That they will feel the same welcome that I once felt. That they will meet and create that second family here in Pitt, as each and every one of us had. And that one day, they too will stand before you, not as students, but as leaders carrying forward the very values that they've learned and encountered here in Pittsburgh. Because when you invest in education, you are truly investing in peace, the greatest values of all. When you invest in students, you're investing in nations. And when you invest in people, you're investing in humanity itself. So let me end with where I began, with the words of Professor Brandt. Our world consists of the people who touch our lives. For 30 years, CILE has touched lives across the world, including mine. You have touched not only our lives, but in fact, our histories. And for that, on behalf of the people of the Republic of Kosovo, and from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. May the next 30 years be even bolder, more transformative, and more filled with the spirit of solidarity and justice that has defined these first 30 years. Thank you so much, once again. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Vjosa. One of the things we've learned at CILE is that we don't miss the opportunity to leverage a good experience. And so you've honored us as our keynote speaker, but you've honored us as well as our 33rd McLean Lecture on World Law. And I want to say something about that. The McLean Lecture was created in honor of Mac McLean, a Pittsburgher who was at the founding of an organization called the World Federalist Association, which promoted world law as a way to peace. And he worked hard on that. And when we founded with the World Federalist Association of Pittsburgh this speaker series, we did so in honor of Mac and what he had done to promote peace through law. And we have always given each of our McLean speakers a clock. But in the clock, in order to indicate that the change we need can come peacefully, we embed a piece of the Berlin Wall, a message that there have been times when peace has come peacefully. And I can vouch that it's for real because my children and I carved it out of the wall at one point. So we hope, Madam President, that each time you look at this to check the time, you will be reminded of your time with us in Pittsburgh, and maybe even of the time that you'll be back again.
I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Thank you so much.
that ends our program. Thank you all for coming. We hope that students and alumni will join us at 3:45 in the courtroom for an informal conversation with President Osmani, and then at 5 o'clock for the reception in the Alcoa room and on the patio at the law school. So again, thank you all for joining us. We look forward to seeing you at the 40th anniversary celebration.